For decades, marketing has pretty much operated on one simple rule. But what if that rule, the one that guides billions and billions of dollars in ad spend, is just, well, wrong? Let's dive into a major shift that's completely rewriting the playbook for growth.
So let me just ask you this straight up. Is your ad spend targeting the wrong audience? It's a bit of a provocative thought, I know, but what if a huge chunk of your budget is going to people who will never buy from you, or just as bad, to your loyal fans who are going to buy from you anyway?
I mean, this has been the mantra for as long as any of us can remember, right? The whole strategy, whether you're in New York or Dubai, was always about maximizing eyeballs. The logic seems simple enough. More reach has to equal more sales. It was a pure volume game.
But here's the thing, and this is a crucial shift in thinking. Reach doesn't automatically equal results anymore. Today, CMOs are under so much pressure to prove that every single dollar is driving a real business outcome. We're talking sales lift, new customers, actual tangible growth. Visibility is nice, sure, but profit? That's the real goal.
So this really isn't about saying reach is bad. It's about saying that it's just wildly inefficient. You see, when we chase maximum reach, we automatically create a massive efficiency problem because we end up wasting a huge portion of our budget on audiences that offer zero return.
So where does all this waste come from? Well, you're basically paying to talk to two groups of people whose behavior just isn't going to change. First, you've got the unpersuadables. Think of them as your competitors' die-hard fans. No ad in the world is going to sway them. And then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have the already convinced. These are your loyalists, the ones who are going to buy from you anyway. Advertising to either of these groups is kind of like pouring water into a glass that's already full. It's just wasted effort.
Okay, so if those two groups are off the table, where does real, efficient growth actually come from? Well, it comes from this hidden segment that most marketers completely overlook. This right here, this is the growth engine, and it's called the movable middle.
The movable middle is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's that group of consumers who are kind of on the fence. They aren't your die-hard fans, but they're not haters either. They are open to being persuaded, and that's the key. These are the people whose minds, and more importantly, whose wallets, your advertising can actually change.
So why should you care so much about this group? Just look at this number. The research shows that focusing on the movable middle delivers, get this, 5 times greater return on ad spend than targeting everybody else. Let that sink in for a second. 5 times. That's not just an improvement, that's a complete game changer.
And look, this isn't just some clever theory someone cooked up. It's a framework that's built on incredibly rigorous research, and it's been validated by some of the biggest brands on the planet. This is a tested, proven path to much more efficient growth.
The research itself was led by two absolute powerhouses in the industry, MMA Global, which is a leading marketing trade association, and Neustar, who are the data science experts over at TransUnion. So you've got this partnership that combines a really broad industry perspective with super deep data analytics.
And the credibility here is just so deep. I mean, the project was advised by academics from UCLA and Oxford, and you have marketing leaders from giants like PepsiCo, Molson Coors, and Kroger. So this framework was literally built by marketers, for marketers, and then vetted by the absolute best in the business.
Okay, so we get the what and we get the why. Now for the most important part, right? The how. How do you actually find and activate your brand's movable middle? Let's get into the playbook.
The playbook is a really clear 4-step process. So step 1 is calculate. You use existing data you probably already have from brand trackers or shopper panels to figure out just how big your movable middle is. Step 2 is find. This is where you use predictive modeling, basically using data to spot the behaviors that signal someone is persuadable to build audiences full of these people. Step 3 is redesign. You shift at least 20% of your media budget toward this super high-value group. And finally, step 4 is measure. And this is key. You validate the impact on real business outcomes, on ROAS, not just on reach.
So, you've got the data, you've got the playbook, but how do you actually persuade these people? Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The most powerful way to reach the movable middle today is through the authentic voices they already listen to and trust. Creators. They really are the infrastructure of modern social commerce.
Now, this approach is critical everywhere, but it is an absolute necessity in the high-growth, digitally native markets all across the Middle East, North Africa, and Asia-Pacific. In hubs like Dubai, Riyadh, Mumbai, and Singapore, the creator economy isn't just another channel, it is the dominant cultural and commercial force.
So let's put all the pieces together. The game plan looks like this. You use predictive analytics to find your movable middle on platforms like TikTok, Meta, and YouTube. Then you partner with niche creators who have a genuine, authentic connection with that specific audience. You see, this isn't just about reach, it's about trust. And in a world with tightening regulations, that trust is your single most valuable asset.
You know, what we're really talking about here is more than just a new tactic. It's a fundamental paradigm shift in how we even think about growth. We're moving from a game of brute force to a game of precision and influence.
Let's just put it side by side. The old way was a numbers game, and we measured success by reach. The new way? It's a game of strategic influence, and it's measured by real results. We're shifting our focus from eyeballs to actual decisions, from channels to audiences, and from just being visible to actually being profitable.
Honestly, the best way to think about this is like Moneyball for marketing. Just like in baseball, it's about using data to find the undervalued assets. In our case, the overlooked audiences that give you a serious competitive edge and let you win in a much smarter, more efficient way.
So, I'll just leave you with this question for your own strategy. When every single dollar counts more than ever, are you still playing the old numbers game, or are you ready to start playing the game of influence?